In the Unit 4 of my media law class, we discussed privacy, which is the right that determines the non-intervention of secret surveillance and the protection of an individual's information. We discussed privacy and how it relates to public figures. According to Black's Law Dictionary, a public figure is a person with fame and notoriety in a community and is involved in the affairs of the community. When deciding if privacy was invaded, you have to look at the tort laws of privacy. There are 4 of them, which are intrusion of private space, public disclosure of embarrassing facts, false light, and misappropriation. And misappropriation is using a person's name or likeness for personal gain without permission. While also looking at privacy laws, we discussed Terry stop and frisk. A Terry stop and frisk is the stop of a person based on reasonable suspicion. And it's really key that it is reasonable suspicion. This was based off of the court case Terry versus Ohio, where a detective in Cleveland, Detective McFadden, observed 2 men circulating a store. So they were walking up and down the street, watching the same store several times, and he assumed that they were casing the store before attempting to rob it. So in this case, the men were suspicious. They were acting suspiciously. Dr. McFadden proceeded to follow and approach the men, asking questions, and this led to him doing a pat down of the men, which ultimately led to the arrest of the men, because when patting down one of the guys, he could feel a gun in his outside pockets. So while this case was in court, the defense argued that he may have violated the 4th Amendment, which is the protection of unreasonable search and seizure. The court had to distinguish what stop and frisk was. So frisk meaning essentially just a pat down from the outside clothing versus a full search of a person and their possessions. So it's important when looking at a Terry stop and frisk to ensure that there is reasonable suspicion. So in this case, him watching the men circle the store gave him reasonable suspicion versus him unreasonably searching and seizing the firearms from the men in this case.